Hey everyone, we got Harvey Freebird with us today, who is a notorious cop watcher that's really turning into an activist. And here's our intro. All right, before we let Harvey talk, there's something that I wanted to show that I feel like really brought him into the limelight. And so I want to present that, and then we'll let Harvey talk about it because I think this is one of the, well, he's been, I don't know, how many times have you been arrested, Harvey, for your activism in cop watching?
I had 3 charges in Tarrant County, which 2 was in Fort Worth, 1 was in Arlington. I got arrested and issued a citation in Lake Worth for disorderly conduct, which the piece of shit lawyer in Fort Worth, Mark Scott, pled me guilty to without my permission. That's the only charge in my activism that I didn't beat, and it wasn't my fault. And then, of course, the Sergeant Gaynor arresting me for walking in the street when I told him that he dropped his pocket. So that's 5 arrests.
All right, that's the one I wanted to show too. So yeah. I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to show the little short because I think it's really funny. You were in jail for like what, 30 minutes?
Yeah, they as soon as they got me to the jail, they let me go because Captain Miguez called and ordered my release. So yeah, big shout out to Captain Miguez. I shared this on our community post too, so maybe we'll get some subscribers for you.
No, I appreciate it. So let me go ahead and play this short. I saw live the long version of it, the big version of this, but this is funny. This is really funny. Here we go.
Your right pocket, right behind your foot. I don't know what you're talking about. You dropped it. What I dropped? Your pocket. Hey, sir. I already picked it up. Hey, sir. You got it. Take it out of the meeting? What law is that? Huh? What law is that? Am I breaking the law?
We're sitting in the middle of a medium. It's a part of a highway, so you have to get on the sidewalk.
It's a public right of way. You see the telephone pole?
If there's a sidewalk provided, that's the transportation code. You have to be on the sidewalk.
There's no sidewalk provided, so I can be on the side of the road. What about the middle of the road?
It's right there.
What's your name and badge number?
Okay.
Are you threatening me with arrest?
Yeah. Put your hands behind your back. But there's a sidewalk provided.
Not in the middle of the road? Hey, you dropped your pocket.
Yeah. The funny thing is, man, is since I've been cop watching, I've been doing a lot of cop watching again recently because I've beat all my charges. I feel like if I get arrested now, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. Whereas if I would have went out and got arrested 3 months ago, I would have really been in a bad situation. But the funny thing is I just keep continuously running into Sergeant Gaynor, man. And like I put out a video a week or 2 ago where he lunged at me like I thought he was going to attack me. And, you know, if I wouldn't have backed up those 3 steps, he would have definitely grabbed me.
Yeah, I saw that video
Yeah.
too.
But people can say what they want to say. Oh, you shouldn't have backed up. You should have stood your ground. But I didn't even have time to think about it. That was just a natural reaction, man. And after it was over with, I even told myself, man, I should have just stood my ground. But hey, that was a natural human reaction, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I don't want to take an arrest anyway, man. Taking an arrest sucks, man, and it's a long fight, man. It is a long fight.
It is.
You're not guaranteed a lawsuit. You're not. I mean, Rogue Nation can tell you that you're not guaranteed a lawsuit on an unlawful arrest. It's an uphill climb. So.
It is normally. Now, on this particular case, you did retain an attorney, a civil rights attorney,
yes,
C.J. Grisham, and you
did. Brandon Grable was the one that did the civil suit.
Oh, okay, but you still got a settlement.
Yeah, let me explain what happened. So
sure,
I showed CJ the video of that, and CJ said, "Yeah, I got you, Harvey." And he said, "As a matter of fact, I'm going to call the prosecutor right now." Okay, I hung up the phone with CJ after showing him that video, and I swear to God, I'm not a liar, but I promise you this is true. An hour and a half later, CJ called me back and said, "Your case has been dismissed." I'm like, dude, I've never seen the legal system move that fast, ever, man.
And that just happened the other day too, where he made a call and.
Oh yeah. He got me out of handcuffs the other day when they arrested me. But CJ put a post on his Facebook page shortly after he got my case dismissed for walking in the street. And CJ had put a post on his Facebook page saying, "Look, I am just swamped right now. I can't take any new cases." So I sent that video of Sergeant Gaynor arresting me to Brandon Grable. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Brandon Grable, that's the lawyer that Batusai uses. And so when I sent that video in an email to Brandon Grable, and he was like, "Yeah, man, this is a good case right here, a good easy case. It ain't going to be a whole lot of money, but it should be pretty easy." And he drew up a demand letter and sent it to Galveston, and they paid pretty quickly. They settled pretty quickly. Now, the difference is, here's the thing, man. If I would have wrote that demand letter and sent it to Galveston, they would have wiped their butt with it and laughed and threw it in the garbage can. But when a lawyer that has the ranking and the wins under his belt, and a lawyer like Brandon Grable, when he sends a demand letter, it makes cities shake in their boots. You know what I mean? So they took it very seriously when they saw his name written at the bottom of that demand letter, and they decided very quickly that they didn't want to play with him, and they paid us. So, but yeah,
and we need more of him. That's for sure.
But yeah, if an activist tries to do that on their own, they're 9 times out of 10, they're not going to settle, because they're going to drag it out as long as they can. They're going to bury you in paperwork because they know that you're not experienced, and they know the longer they can drag it out, they'll wear you down and you'll probably give up. And it's true. Yeah.
So cop watching is one thing. I'm going to share my screen again here, and we're going to watch some actual activism here. Share this one. We're at a city council meeting here, so before I get started, do you want to kind of preface this one?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, man. I mean, it is what it is.
Yep.
Jason Followell had just spoke right before me, and I don't know what it is about these public comments, man, but like, I can walk up to 5 heavily armed police officers and not be afraid at all. But something about walking to that podium, man, it makes me nervous, man. I don't know why. I guess it's public speaking. I don't know. But, I was pretty nervous. And then I heard Jason Followell get up and say his thing. And I was like, all right, screw it. Here I go. That's what you got to do. You got to just get up there and do it, man. You just got to get up there and do it, man.
Yep. that's the good way to get over the nervousness is just
Yeah.
do it.
I wish
And
I'd slow down a little bit because as you'll notice, I started talking before I even got to the podium.
it was still very effective, and we're going to let everybody see it here right now. Here we go.
And then I kept accidentally hitting
shirt
the
says fuck.
microphone.
Because all the dumb shit you guys have done, I didn't know if y'all knew how to read or not. But it does say fuck 3 times. The whole world is watching. I drove 4 hours to be here, and it's not because of pieces of shit like you. There's pieces of shit like you in every town. People are here because this man's a hero, him and CJ, and we need more heroes like them in every town. The video, the interview that the chief made about the public comment with Jason, you said that the 3 minutes, you're going to protect everybody's 3 minutes to say whatever they want. Then you turned around and charged them too for saying curse words during public comments. You proved yourself you proved that you're a liar. You're harassing business owners and homeless people instead of solving crimes. Why don't you guys solve Elisa Robertson's crime instead of messing with the homeless and using code enforcement to harass this man? It's ridiculous. Solve some real crime. Then you get your mom to come up here? Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Reading Bible scriptures? I got some Bible scriptures for you. Thou shalt not steal. You stole a suit. Thou shalt not lie. I just pointed out a lie that you told on the internet twice in front of everybody. The whole world was watching. Then you filed a bar complaint on CJ for doing his job. Man, you're a piece of shit, man. And Carrie, you steal from the dead? That's pretty disgusting.
Terrible.
Yeah, forger of wills. Yeah, you're willing to destroy people and relationships over greed and selfishness. It's despicable. That's all I got.
Good job, sir.
That was awesome.
Appreciate it, man. I wish I was more. When you get up
for
there,
not being a public speaker, you did a great job there.
Yeah.
So
you heard me mention Elisa Robertson in that speech, right?
Yep.
Did y'all see the podcast I did on her?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And people, you guys need to go to Harvey Freebird's channel and look at all of his body of work, because this man is really doing some activism. He's helping a lot of people out, not just Matthew Reardon either, other regular citizens. And that's why we wanted to have you on our show tonight. So
yeah. So I talked to Ruby Hall, which that's Elisa Robertson's sister. Elisa Robertson was kidnapped in Aransas Pass in 1989, and she came on and we did a podcast. And she called me yesterday, and she's, the first podcast we did, we were being nice and we were saying, please, police, help us and work with us, and we're not trying to bump heads with you. Well, she called me yesterday and she said she's tired of being nice. She wants to do another podcast, and she's going to let some stuff off her chest, and she's going to give the Aransas Pass Police Department a piece of her mind. And I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah. So are we.
Yeah.
I know I am too.
Keep an eye out for it. She's mad.
And I'm going to show another city council meeting that you spoke at, because I liked it, and I think other people will like it as well. So let me go ahead and present again. And I think you really are growing into an activist, Harvey.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay, let's make this big.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to talk about the lying pieces of shit that work for the Galveston
Harvey.
Police Department.
Let's keep that under control if we would.
I want people to really pay attention to these two elderly women here.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
And I think they were on your side towards the end, but people put something in the comments as to whether or not you think that's true or not. But,
When I said shit, that old lady's jaw dropped to the floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's
real quick.
Okay, here we go.
Sir. Can you start my time over, please?
Go right ahead. Yes.
Also, the liars that work here at City Hall and everything that I'm speaking of has been documented and recording. So there's no question about it. But let's start off with the lying piece of shit, Officer Gardner.
Harvey, let's please, on the language.
Will you please stop interrupting me?
No, sir. Just get your language under control, please, sir.
The first time I was in Galveston, Bruce invited me here. He said there was a problem with the police department. I hadn't been in Galveston long, and I was pulled over by Officer Gardner. He claimed I ran a red light, which I have since proved that he lied, and the ticket has been dismissed. It was all recorded on my dash camera. Showed the light was yellow the whole way through. Why would he lie? Not too long ago, I noticed on Galveston Police Department's Facebook page, they were giving him and Officer Jones recognition and praise at the city council meeting for writing the most citations. So my question is there some kind of bounty system going on here? Or, I mean, what's up with that? You just reward officers for writing citations, whether people are guilty or not? That's my question. I'm not making an accusation. It has been proved. It was dismissed yesterday in court. I lost my spot. Okay. There was an occasion where Officer Gardner told Austin that he better go stand behind a gas pump. Austin was recording him on a traffic stop. Austin was 20 feet away.
I want to say something right there too, Harvey, because you could have edited that out. You're showing your own little mistake there. I think it's hilarious.
I did edit out about 5 seconds of it.
But you still showed that you're not infallible. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I wanted to get a laugh. I figured
Awesome.
people would have laughed about it.
Yep. And it was fun.
And maybe I
Said,
figured
look.
maybe that would help people engage in the comments too, you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And they did.
Not only that, it shows that normal people, not cop watchers, not activists, not auditors, but normal people should not be afraid to go up and speak to their city council. I mean, if someone like Harvey can make a mistake, oh, I lost my place, then they're gonna, normal people can go, oh, hey, if he can do that, so can I.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a good teaching moment that Harvey did there, and I like it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm 20 feet away. I'm recording. I'm not moving. Officer Gardner went over and arrested him. He said because he didn't follow an order. Then in Officer Gardner's police report, he stated that he arrested him because he was talking too loud, which is not a crime. And this case is still pending. It needs to be dismissed. The video clearly shows that Officer Gardner never said anything about Austin's volume.
Hey, man, you ain't got to answer none of them questions, dude. Ask for your lawyer, man.
If you want to keep interjecting,
I'm not interjecting, man. You keep your mouth shut. I'm not interjecting with nothing. Speaking is not interference, man. Subsection D of the Penal Code. Texas Penal Code 38.15, subsection D. Talking is not interference. Or what? Put it up. You're making a big mistake, Gardner. You just fuck, Gardner. Hey, I'll be down there. I'll get you out.
that is not interference. Speech
Not interference, dude.
Speech is not interference.
Yeah, he said he just admitted
He
speech.
just admitted speech is interference.
Man, that guy. Which one is it? Staying by the gas pump or talking? Which one did he do wrong? This is a public sidewalk, man. I'm standing on a public sidewalk.
This man is a proven liar. He's lied on police reports. And I'm asking you all on the city council to please do something about it. I'm asking nicely. City employees here need to stop lying and remember who they work.
Did you see the elderly lady right here? She had a big old smile on her face when you said you were acting nicely. She just thought that was sweet of you. That's why I think they were on your side towards the end of your
Well, I'm telling you
talk
what,
here.
next time I go up there, I asked nicely the first time, okay? And if nothing's been done about any of this, I'm not going to be so nice. So,
Well, yeah, and deservedly so if they
Yeah.
don't fix it. All right, here we go.
For Officer Olstein lied and said he smelled alcohol on Matthew Reardon's breath and arrested him for DUI. The blood results came back and there's no 0% alcohol in this man's breath.
I'm live on YouTube.
All right, Mr. Matthew, I'm gonna ask you a question. I need you to be honest with me, okay?
Yeah.
All right, have you been drinking all night, man?
Not a single thing.
Okay, then why come I smell alcohol coming from the car?
I hadn't had a drink, dropped a drink for 3 years.
Nothing for 3
3
years.
years.
3 years, okay?
You smelling?
I can smell you.
Yet he's still in jail today after 9 months. This charge needs to be dismissed. These cops are lying on police reports. Then there is the occasion where I came here to City Hall to do a public records request a couple of months ago. I always record my interactions. I'm recording right now with government because a lot of people in government lie and you have to protect your rights. Anyway,
That's the 3 minutes. Yes, sir.
can I finish on one?
Yes, sir. Go ahead and finish.
Okay. To make a long story short, I was live streaming. I did my public records request. My live stream audience said, take us on a tour of the building. So I walked around, I did a tour of the building. I was showing everybody around. I only stayed in the public areas. I did not go in the restricted areas. I walked into the city attorney's office. The door was open. It didn't say restricted access. We had a confrontation where we went back and forth for a minute. And I left out of their office. They threatened me and I left. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I did not know that my lawsuit was sitting on his desk at the time. I figured my lawsuit was at a courthouse somewhere. This man in the city attorney's office called my lawyer and told my lawyer I went in his office and tried to negotiate a settlement without him.
Okay.
He's a liar. And people need to do something with all these liars that work for the city. Thank you.
I think we walked over here yet.
So I think that's I think Harvey made his points there. Not just cops lie, but government officials altogether lie.
Yeah.
Especially when they're trying to cover their own.
and
idiocy.
everything I said was recorded. Nobody can dispute it. That's why I showed the clips of everything I was speaking about. And I could have went on for another hour. I could have went on for another hour from just the stuff that they did to Bruce. But Bruce was signed up to speak right behind me. So I didn't want to, I wanted to let him say his own things about his stuff. But then when he got up there, they wouldn't let him speak because he refused to give his name.
Yeah. If you refuse to give up his Fourth Amendment right to speak, and that was really egregious as well. I mean, why do we have a constitution if our own government isn't going to adhere to it? I mean, it's just it's ridiculous. All right, so and then your latest story here that you just published. I don't know if you want me to show it yet. It hasn't really been out very long. It's the one about the jailer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me present that one too. I want to present this story as well because this is a good story.
Say something before you start it?
Absolutely.
The thing that really bugs me about this is I watched all the local news, Fox, because this was a widely published story. I read all the newspapers around Dallas and Fort Worth. Not one news agency brought up the topic of how much this guard weighed. And to me, that was the elephant in the room. The guy was 400 plus pounds. But all the news agencies and the sheriff wanted to talk about he used the wrong technique, and that technique is not authorized by Tarrant County. I don't give a crap what technique you used. If you put 400 pounds of body weight on a normal sized person, you're going to kill them or break their bones or something. And nobody addressed that situation. So I made sure I addressed his weight in this video.
Yeah, I mean, okay, mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't tell everything.
No.
Everything's skewed. They only spew out the government, what the government tells them they can report.
Yeah.
It's fake news. We've all heard it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and play this. Here we go.
On April 21st, 2024, in the Tarrant County Jail in Fort Worth, Texas, Anthony Ray Johnson was unalived by a guard, Officer Marino, kneeling down on his back after he was already handcuffed. And I have watched numerous reports and read several news articles on this situation, and nobody is addressing the elephant in the room here. What is the elephant in the room? The elephant is Officer Marino. I mean, this guy's at least 400 pounds or more, kneeling all of his body weight on Anthony Ray Johnson's back and suffocating him. It's absolutely ridiculous. These officers should be able to pass physicals, and they should not be able to just be as obese as this man is right here. It is absolutely horrific.
And because of that, the two team members that were terminated was one, Officer Marino, Rafael Marino, and he was using a technique that, number one, he was not trained to do, and number two, that we do not tolerate, nor do we want done. The second one was Lieutenant Joe Garcia. Lieutenant Garcia was terminated on the basis that not only was he there, he was in charge, and he was allowing this to occur. And he is on the second floor. When they go to his cell, they open the door and tell him to come out. He steps back into his cell, not wanting to come out, but he does put on a jumper.
I want to play this back real quick because what I saw, it looked like the inmate accidentally bumped the guard, and then he stepped back and put his hands up in a surrendering position, and then they attacked him.
Then he comes forward and he kind of lunges at an officer and made a statement of some sort. Another officer saw this, believed it to be a threat, and got him and tried to pull him into that area on the tier. And then the fight began. And I say fight, it was a long fight, and you will see it. And you will see multiple officers attempting to control him without success. In fact, the officers testified that he had superhuman strength. And you will see officers.
Does everybody think he had superhuman strength? I mean, come on.
Absolutely not. And
Yeah,
look,
it's not like he could be on those drugs while he's in the jail, right? I mean,
well, I mean, I never saw the inmate do anything that you could consider as fighting. I mean, it looked like he walked out of the cell and he bumped into the guard and he immediately backed up and put his hands up. Now,
yep, that's what I saw too.
I didn't see him fight or do anything. I saw 5 guards attack him and slam him to the ground and dogpile him. And he, like the video shows, he's already in handcuffs when that 400-pounder kneeled on his back.
Yeah, you notice how the government official is stating a narrative of what happened, but the video shows something completely different.
Yeah,
it's
and that's
crazy.
that's why I set this video up the way I did, because on all the news stations, they didn't have the video playing while the sheriff was giving the narrative at the same time. They would show. They let the sheriff give his narrative, and then they played the video afterwards. Well, by the time you're watching the video, you already forgot what the sheriff said. That's why I put the two together right here, so you can see that he's lying in real time while it's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, nobody else did that. Put him up there with the footage. Yeah.
Yeah, conveniently, right? For this public official.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Then you will see him break away from them and grab a hold of a rail. He's on the second tier. One of the fear is he going to jump over? Is he going to push somebody else over? It was a very dangerous situation. He was pepper sprayed because nothing else was working, but it seemed to have no effect. And they finally wrestled Mr. Johnson off of that rail and onto the ground. And he was finally successfully handcuffed after about 2 or 3 minutes of fighting. And then Lieutenant Garcia took over and gave some commands. And some of those commands was hold him here until we get leg irons. You will hear that. And that is when Officer Marino thought it was appropriate to put his knee in his back. Now, Officer Marino was grabbed a hold of the rail. He was on his toes so that he tried not to put all of his weight on it. After that, a little bit of portion is that when he stood up after about 90 seconds, is that Mr. Johnson was non-responsive.
Upstairs. Simmons. Get your out. Check out. Come on. Go that way. No good? You have restraints on? We have leg arm. Moody, come on. Leave him there.
Right there. Does he look like he's trying to fight or get up or anything right there?
Nope.
So it wasn't even necessary.
I tell you what, I just thought of after watching that elephant run up the stairs. By the time he got over there to him, he was so exhausted and out of breath from running up those stairs that he just wanted to sit down because he was exhausted. So he acted like he was helping and sat down on this man's back because he was out of breath and wore out from running up those stairs.
Yeah, so he's getting his rest, and he put him in to rest.
Yeah, 90 seconds he had his knee on that guy's back.
Wow.
Till we get leg irons. Leave him there till we get leg irons.
He's like, man, break. Let me just take a knee right here.
I just noticed this guy was a Marine veteran.
Yeah, he was. And you just heard him say, I can't breathe. That was his last words. I can't breathe.
And the interesting thing too is whenever you say you can't breathe, you really can't breathe. You're basically expending the rest of your oxygen to let them know that you can't breathe, but they never believe you. Well, if you can talk, you can breathe. It's like, good Lord.
I'm not sure. Get leg irons.
I noticed his arm on that rail too. It's completely relaxed. He's not trying to hold himself up.
Yeah, he's got all of his weight on that guy, man.
Yeah.
His foot being on the ground, the majority of his weight is going to that knee pressure point.
Yeah, he's not trying to let up at all.
He's just holding that rail to keep him from falling over.
Caldwell, checked out. He didn't get hit. How you feeling, man? We'll bring him down to you.
We'll bring him down to you, Don. I'll tell you what, John, right? We'll bring him down to you.
So if I told y'all that these two officers were recently reinstated after they had initially been fired, they were recently reinstated and put on paid leave. You heard that right. A paid vacation, given their jobs back, but they can't work, but they're going to continue to get paid.
The Tarrant County jailer and supervisor fired because of what happened in this video just got their jobs back. The video shows the moments before inmate Anthony Johnson died while in custody. The family's attorney told them.
Are they that short-handed that
No, it
is
didn't
that
have anything to do with that. They just they're saying that oh, they didn't follow the policy correctly, and you know these guys are all got union lawyers, and you know the Fraternal Order of Police, and you know just a little bit of pressure from these organizations, and the sheriff reinstated these two clowns.
wow? You know, is there a lot more? Is there anything relevant at the end of this that I guess people can actually go to the end of this and watch it for themselves
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
channel? Yeah. So we'll leave it there. All right. Nikki, have you got anything to say about all of that?
You really don't want to know what I have to say about it. Other than I do agree. Why don't they have to pass physical, I guess, education tests? I know when I was in school, we had those, you know, state tests that we had to do every year, and if you didn't pass them, you basically flunked PE. Wouldn't you think that if someone was going to be in a possible physically needing job, that they would have to pass those, you know, kind of like the military and, you know, all the forced marches and everything. Oklahoma outlaw audits. Yeah, donut challenge. He probably did win. You know, the only thing that I've really wanted to know, Harvey, is, you know, you took on the tyranny of Tarrant County, and I think you're now 3-0. How does that, you know, make you feel as an activist for the rest of us?
Well, I mean, I know it probably sounds glorious and everything, but that was a long year and a half, 2 years that I was fighting these cases. I was on probation, or they had me on pre-trial probation, which basically means it was part of my bond conditions to go and check in and take urine tests. And it was really, I was really punished for 2 years until I proved my innocence. So the phrase that you hear all the time, the process is the punishment, it is very true. Yeah, I beat the cases, but of course, yeah, I feel like I was punished too. It was not fun. I mean, I was looking over my shoulder for 2 years because, especially in Tarrant County, if you get arrested again, we've seen them do this to Manuel over and over and over again. If you get arrested again while you're out on bond, they revoke all of your bonds. So, you know, I quit cop watching there for, I don't know, it was maybe 6 or 7 months. And, you know, that was the reason why, you know. Yeah,
I think what you're saying too, Harvey, is you weren't the only one being punished. We were being punished by not having you out there watch over, as a cop watcher, making sure that people's rights weren't being violated. So during that 6-7 months that you were out of commission, you were just showing up people's videos, and you really couldn't be out there on your own because obviously they're going to try to arrest you over BS to revoke your bond, and you'd have been in a much worse situation, and we wouldn't have you out here covering these stories. So that's important to know.
Absolutely. And I'll give you guys an update on I have filed 2 lawsuits a few months ago against 2 Fort Worth police officers, Corporal Green and Officer Cotton. Officer Cotton's the same one that arrested Carolina that one time. I don't know if you remember, Cliff, but when he just grabbed her off the sidewalk and arrested her. He's the one that accused her of doing bad things with her students, and which was a complete lie. But anyhow, we filed 2 lawsuits against them, and the lawyers for these police officers, which I think, you know, they're union lawyers. If I'm correct, I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think they are. But they recently filed a motion to the court to dismiss my lawsuits because they're saying that these officers are so dumb that they couldn't have known that these arrests were unlawful, and qualified immunity should cover their ignorance. So my cases could possibly be dismissed this week or next week or in a month from now, and their only defense is these cops' ignorance deserves qualified immunity.
Yeah, and yet, regular citizens out there, cops say this to them all the time. Ignorance is no excuse of the law, but they get to use it. So it's laws for thee and not me, and that's the typical line. They want, and anybody that's against what the government is doing, they disparage the other side, us, activism. They try to discredit them in every way that they can by lying about them, and just it's really egregious what our government is doing to just regular citizens, let alone First Amendment auditors, independent journalists that are investigative journalists investigating the government. They've got a playbook, and they use it, and they use it pretty well. And then qualified immunity, you can just play dumb all the time. So that's why I always tell cop watchers and First Amendment auditors, make sure you put them on notice during the situation. You know, this is a violation of this right, according to the Constitution, so that way you've got them on notice. They know what they're doing, or they can't play ignorant if you say it right in the moment. But a lot of times, I mean, they don't give you a chance to say it, or they pretend they didn't hear you. You know, they play dumb. They play dumb on purpose. Now, was C.J. Grisham part of the lawsuit there? Is he your attorney on that? Or? Okay.
CJ is the attorney that filed those 2 lawsuits that I was just speaking of, the ones in Fort Worth. And, you know, I talked to him the other day about it, and he says, you know, Harvey, 9 times out of 10, the court is going to give these officers qualified immunity. He said, but, you know, I really think that this particular case, we would have a great, if they are granted qualified immunity and my case gets dismissed, he highly recommended that we appeal it to the 5th Circuit because he thinks it's a winnable case. I mean, they arrested me for not moving 3 feet. You know?
That sounds like a chilly situation.
Yeah, literally. And that was the arrest when they told me to stand behind the ice machine. I don't know if you guys remember that. But
I do.
But, you know, and then they had already backed me up where I had my back up against the Circle K gas station. And then they were telling me to move behind the ice machine, but my only direct path to the ice machine, there was a cop standing there. So, I mean, it was really ridiculous. It's almost like they told me to jump off a bridge or we're going to arrest you. And I said, man, I'm not jumping off the bridge. And they arrested me.
Yeah.
So
speaking of C.J. Grisham, I want to show something to everybody here, just in case you might have missed his kind of style here and what he does, especially when it comes to suing a city or a county. I want to show you what he does and how he does it. I want to share this with everybody. This is after he basically used a lot of filthy language beforehand, and they basically threw him out for using that language. And he's back again, dressed a little nicer, and you're going to see exactly how he turns it around on him here. I love this, and we're going to show the whole 4 minutes of it because it's awesome.
Hey, I'm not saying fuck a lot this time. I owe you some apologies. One, for the way I dress. As a professional, I've neglected to come to these meetings appropriately dressed, perhaps not looking like your definition of a professional. I've worn t-shirts, I've worn hoodies. When such royalty as yourself deserves Sunday best. After all, I think the mayor said it best when he said we should treat this place with the same decorum as we would a church. Unfortunately, I don't have the access to the city's credit card that the chief does. I can't buy a $1,200 suit. And I ignored the fact that you are to be worshiped in this temple of government, not held accountable. I apologize. Number two, for the way I talk. I didn't realize that being way down here in southern Texas, it's entirely possible that word of the ratified 1791 Constitution that included the First Amendment might not have hit these parts yet, and that you're supposed to obey them. I meant to bring a copy for each of you, but my scribe ran out of parchment paper, molted flight feathers, a quill, and an inkwell. I apologize. I apologize for the company I keep. Chief Blanchard tried to warn me long ago during a meeting that he recorded and hasn't yet released that Mr. Followwell was a criminal. I should be careful with whom I associate. Apparently criminals aren't allowed to have attorneys or something like that. But we'll find out soon enough. I should have listened. I didn't take the time to see things from a tyrant's perspective. I apologize. But all that changes now. Chief Blanchard was right. Anyone can Google stuff. Anyone can quote case law. We just didn't have the facts. We've just been wrong all this time when we spoke to you about gun rights, when we spoke to you about free speech, when we spoke to you about warrantless searches and faulty warrants based on no probable cause. When we demanded equal treatment of the law, we were just wrong. When we tried to educate you on the meaning of rubbish. By the way, just look in a mirror. After all, Chief Blanchard has been a cop for 24 years now. You all have been tyrants your whole life. Who are we to ignore this experience? Maybe you are the ones that are right all along. Last time I was here, Chief Blanchard gave me some advice, and I'm finally going to obey. It's important to respect and obey our police chiefs. They know better than anyone in this room what is good for us. They're smarter alone on their worst days than all of us are collectively on our best days. Otherwise, surely you wouldn't keep this guy employed as your police chief, right? So I'm taking the advice he gave me when he threatened to arrest me last time I was here for daring to read the words of the Supreme Court. When he said, "Stop talking and just sue me." Okay, Chief, here we go.
3 minutes up.
These are your lawsuits.
Good job, CJ.
Like Oz.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely. Here's your lawsuits. Yeah, that is a good civil rights attorney right there. That's somebody that knows the Constitution, and I'm glad you have him as your attorney.
Yeah,
Harvey, and I think you are too. I think we need more people like him to help us in this movement.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's very effective, man. You know, when I first got my first 2 arrests, he hadn't had his law license yet. And I ended up hiring, they charged me with felony stalking. All these cases that I beat in Fort Worth, I originally had hired different lawyers. And I hired 3 different lawyers because of the fact that I didn't trust any of them. You know, yeah. I wasn't going to put, and I proved what I was saying was right and not trusting these bastards because the one pled me guilty without even my own permission. Okay. Yeah. And then there was only one of these lawyers that I fired that actually did a good job and did what I asked. And she got my case dismissed. Her name is Elaine Weathers, if anybody would like to know that. And then the other 2 lawyers, I fired them because they weren't doing anything. Their strategy was wait to see if you get indicted. Well, I got indicted, and this was the best lawyer in Dallas, okay, the one I hired, Scott Palmer, okay? He was highly recommended, First Amendment lawyer. His strategy was wait until you get indicted. Then I got indicted. Then his strategy was, well, let's see if they want to take it to a jury trial, and then we'll get ready for a jury trial. I didn't like that strategy. And about that time, that's when CJ had gotten his law license. I called him. He looked at the case. He says, I'll immediately file a motion to quash based on this and this and this and this. He said, we're not going to sit around and wait for them for a jury trial because a jury in Tarrant County always sides with the police. He says that would be the worst thing to do because no matter what, they're going to side with the police. They're bootlickers. So I fired that lawyer, Scott Palmer. I'm not saying that he wasn't going to do a good job. I trusted CJ. When you're hiring lawyers, trust is a big thing, man. So I hired CJ, and within 2 months, he had that case dismissed. And that case drug on for 1.5 years before I hired him. So if I'd have hired him in the beginning, man, that would have been 1.5 years of stress that I wouldn't have had.
Yeah, I think a lot of these defense attorneys out there, they're kind of milking things, you know, they're reactionary instead of going on the attack and getting things taken care of as quickly as possible because they're just milking for more money. You know, being reactionary is, I think it's just silly to just wait for the state to do something and then react to it. I think you've got to go take the bull by the horns right then and there. Get it done. But no, I think they do that on purpose so they can make more money. Drag it out.
CJ beat 3 cases of mine without ever stepping foot in the courtroom. Filing motions. That's what CJ does. But
filing motions, I think, is important. Because it has to be done, otherwise the court doesn't react to anything.
Exactly.
Without a motion, the court doesn't do anything.
If you got a lawyer that just lays down and panhandles to the prosecutors and just sits around and waits for a jury trial, then you know the prosecutor feels like you're on their team. You know, you got somebody like CJ that's emailing that prosecutor every day. You need to dismiss this, and I'm filing this motion, and just in their ear every day. Hey, when are you going to dismiss this? That's what CJ does every day. I just got another case dismissed a few days ago, and CJ was he got hit by a tornado and couldn't even make it to the courthouse. But CJ had been badgering that prosecutor so much for the last couple of months that when I got there, the motion had already been filed by the prosecutor to dismiss my case. It's just crazy that when I went in the courthouse, they had a warrant for my arrest. They said I didn't show up for one of my piss tests, which I texted CJ in the courthouse. They just arrested me. They said I didn't take a piss test. He was stuck in Temple with pine trees leaned all up against his house, and he got to work with a laptop and a generator. He didn't even have power, and he proved them wrong, and they ended up just releasing me. So, yeah.
And here's something about juries too. I contend that they're the jury pool is already pro government.
Yep.
I think, you know, when the police have these functions or whatever, and you got a sign-in sheet, people are going to those functions because they're already pro-police, and I think the courts basically pick them as potential jurors. They either work for the government, or they got friends that work for the government, or they're friends of cops. Fletcher Freedom's, in fact, in his court, it was actually a city council member on the jury.
Wow.
Who said that he couldn't, you know, he probably couldn't testify, or he probably wouldn't rule against what a cop says because he's got to work with them. And yet they got him on the jury. So, yeah, I contend that these juries are already fixed for the state.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's what Wanda Mize is saying here, too. They're trolls. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad to see a lot of these people in here and new people in our chat. The Angry Vets here.
Hey, Angry Vet. What's up, dude? I love the Angry Vet.
Yep, so do I. So does Nikki. We take care of him. Nikki takes care of him when he's out on the road, too.
That's supposed to be a secret, remember?
Got to make sure he gets a good hotel.
I think the Angry Vet lives up there near where CJ was. I hope he made it okay through those tornadoes.
The Angry Vet is way far northeast of CJ, like
Oh, okay.
in a complete another state, like near Washington, D.C.
Well, but he
Oh,
was
I'm
recently
sorry.
traveling during tornado weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got him and Foul Mouth Veteran confused for a minute. I'm sorry. I love the Angry Vet too. Foul Mouth Veteran has been MIA for a while, but yeah, I love the Angry Vet too. I love both of those guys.
Yeah. Good people.
Sorry about that. I got them mixed up for a minute. Both great guys.
Absolutely. All right. So I think, Nikki, have you got anything to say before we end the stream here? Because I'm pretty sure that Harvey said that I've got an hour, man. Otherwise, I start getting tired out. So he gave us an hour. And I think we're right there.
That's really all I was gonna say was, hey, Harvey said he's got an hour. I am proud to know Harvey. I'm glad that he is out there fighting for us. Just to plug our channel, Harvey, I don't know if you're aware of what we stand for. We are trying to pull together to be like the supporters of our boots on the ground, and not just by watching your videos or giving you clicks and views on YouTube, but to be able to, when you text Cliff, hey, I just got arrested, I can tell you the first place Cliff turned was he spread the word to me. And
yeah,
it's kind of, we're trying to be able to spread the word to get an army of supporters behind you guys.
I did text Cliff a couple of days ago. I just got arrested.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And within 3 minutes, he was texting me. Harvey got arrested.
I texted about 20 people, and I know Harvey texted about 20 people too. And I think it got to CJ Grisham, and he's like, "Okay, I'll make a call," and boom, it was all done.
I texted CJ before I texted anybody else.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm just thankful that I was unarrested an hour after I was arrested. So.
Yeah, and then the judge actually says, "You know what, Harvey, you've been through enough," and he just dropped the charges that were against you in the first place. Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Those charges were getting dropped anyway. Like I said, CJ had been badgering that prosecutor for months to drop them, and once the judge opened my file, there was already a motion to dismiss in there, and the prosecutor had already signed it. So it was a wrap anyway, man. But yeah. After what they had just put me through, the judge went ahead and signed it and dismissed it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
that case was going nowhere because the police officer that was in that case that arrested me, she was indicted and arrested for lying on police reports. So the case was going nowhere. It was just the fact that they kept trying to drag it out as long as they could, because the more they drug it out, the more it's like a punishment. Every time I had to show up to that courthouse, I'm being punished. Every time, and then they pulled this shit on me and said I didn't show up for one of my piss tests. That's all punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they make these clerical errors, I think, on purpose too.
Oh yeah.
Just to try to hem you up. And that's just it too. These First Amendment auditors out there, they're out there with cameras. They're putting a light on potential corruption, including especially the police, because they do things that are just outrageous. And if we didn't have First Amendment auditors and cop watchers like Harvey, they'd be getting away with a lot more. And we all know that. And it's unfortunate that, I used to be, and Nikki used to be, where these bootlickers are. And we try not to call them bootlickers, but we were there too. We thought the cops were they could do no wrong. And we're realizing just by watching all of these cop watchers and First Amendment auditors and independent journalists going places with cameras, why are they freaking out about cameras? There's got to be a reason. What are they hiding? And why are cops freaking out about cameras too? Did they want to plant something to try to hem somebody up? These jails make money. The more people they put in their jails and keep them in the jails, the more money gets put in the coffers, and then that's how cops get raises and other government officials. So they're on a war footing, the government against the people. That you see it everywhere you go. You go into any public building, and the plexiglass is there. We're cut off from our government. They're against us, and it's really sad. So having said that, does anybody have any questions for Harvey? Let's look in the chat and see if there's any questions out there. What do you got, Nikki?
So far, nothing, but you got to remember there's that delay.
Well, and that's okay, because I think we pretty much covered it pretty well. We've told the story about Harvey. People are going to go to his channel, and I know that the mods have put links in there. And I do want to thank our mods too. Wanda Mize, Oklahoma Outlaw Audits. Who else do we got in there? Stephanie, of course. Absolutely. Stephanie Jenks.
I forgot to mention, we should have plugged that Give, Sing, Go for the Marine veteran, Matt Reardon.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can do that. And we'll just put it in the description after this video is done. Nikki will get that done for us, right, Nikki?
Yep.
I appreciate it.
I
Nikki's
can
off.
push buttons.
Yep, she can push buttons. She knows how to do it.
Yeah, there's only $45 in that Give, Sing, Go. It's kind of sad, but
it is. Yep, we need to get Matthew some more help because his attorney still wants more money. Just a little update. They've dropped the felony DUI charge. They've recharged him with misdemeanor DUI, even though they should drop it. Even the state's crime lab said that she could not testify that he was intoxicated. And then also, they still have the extradition hanging over his head. He's got a hearing on May 28th with another. We have another attorney on that case. So there's still a lot more to go on this. And we need him to get the financial help to get him through this. And we'll go ahead and put that link in the description. And I think that's it. Let's go ahead and play our outro here. We kind of fixed the outro a little bit. And I think I really like this outro. It's really calming.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me, and I'll see everybody later.
Absolutely. And don't forget to go to Harvey Freebird's channel, watch his videos. We didn't finish a lot of these videos that we presented today on purpose for a purpose. So be sure and go there. Let me go ahead and present this screen here, and we're going to do this little outro. And you guys have a, well, before I sign off here, have you got anything else, Nikki?
Nope. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your day to be here. And, let's just all support each other.
Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and play this.